What's good, YouTube? This is Spanky, and I just got my Grail. I really dislike those videos where people get their Grail and they talk about it for 30 minutes. They never show you. Well, here it is. TMNT, #1, first print, 5.5 CGC. I never thought I'd own this. I remember telling people for the longest time, it's what I want so much. And here it is. I finally got it. Today, I'm going to talk about how I got it, the process, how to maybe help you attain your Grail, tell you how I amassed the money to buy such an expensive comic and how you can do it, who I bought it from, who helped me, and then the feeling I got when I finally got the comic. Getting my Grail wasn't what I expected, to say the least, but that'll be more towards the end. But to just go ahead and into it, I got this from Bryce Comics. It's been about a month. He mentioned in one of his videos that he had a TMNT #1 coming in. I think he said it was like a 5.0. It ended up being a 5.5, and he just mentioned it in the video, say it was coming in. So I went down, immediately emailed him, hey, how much you selling it for? What do you got? So I'd already been saving up money for quite a while. So how I did it was a few years ago. It's not the same interest right now. PayPal opened up a savings account, and it's still pretty high interest, but back then it was like 15%. So the money I already had saved, a couple thousand, I threw into that, because 15% interest in your savings is huge compared to like a Chase savings account, which is like 0.01%, and you're making 1 cent a month on it, whereas in PayPal I was getting like $10. It's pretty crazy. You can also do this by going to some banks have something called like CD. I don't know what CD stands for, but you can choose the amount of time you want to put in there, and I just always choose the highest percentage of interest, so you'll be making way more money on your savings. So that's one way that I started to, slowly encroach on my goal. And it's been it was like a 5-year process or more, and I still needed to scramble at the last second to get a couple more bucks. And also, so the weird thing is, Bryce Comics, I'm sure other people say it, he always mentioned a lot of comics, let the hobby fund itself. And it's just kind of ironic that I got that from him, and then I've been letting the hobby fund itself, selling stuff that I don't really use anymore, selling action figures, comics, and stuff that they're just sitting there. Why do I have them? I could be using this money to buy something that I really, really want, that I think I never owned, and then I owned it. So it was kind of weird that he's the one who mentioned that, and then I ended up buying it from him, because he's kind of like the one who, I guess, kind of started it all and made me think that it was possible. And this is hopefully helping you all, give you some hints to know that it is possible to get your Grail. Now, if your Grail is $100,000 and you're making not minimum wage, you're a middle class person like me, you're making good money, but you're not rich, then it's possible. It's possible. Trust me. I did it. You can do it. It's just time. It's gonna be a process. For me, it was it's at least 5 years. It might have been a little more, it might have been a little bit less, of just selling things here and there, comic books, action figures. It doesn't matter. But I mean, this is just my Grail. I don't have like an action figure Grail. No, there's not an action figure. I collect action figure cards. There's no like Pokemon cards that like I need to have. Like I had this. This was always the goal, to save up towards this. And then let me just give a shout out to Kentucky Keys. He's on Instagram. He won't be in the country much longer. He'll be moving. So catch on to his last sales on Instagram, because I know he's always ran really good sales, but hopefully I'm not, maybe I shouldn't say it, but he's going to be running better sales. Let's just say that. I don't want to get too involved in his life, but just go and get there, and, he's always giving good prices. I just bought the first appearance of Harley Quinn from him. Just a very good local guy. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is because I need a few extra bucks at the end. So this empty space here used to be a Hulk 181. Make the hobby fund itself. I didn't want to sell the Hulk 181, but I wanted that more. I can always get a 181 later. I bundled that with an NYX and a Dakin, and I said, hey, man, I need money. Would you buy this for me? He said, I'll do you one better. I'll sell it at my live auction tonight. He did that for me, and then he also bought my Something Is Killing Children. One covers A, B, and C. Then I had a bunch of other variant covers, 1 through 10, that I got really early on, so I didn't spend much money on those. It's always a series I've been interested in. I wasn't really investing in it or anything. was like 1 through like 42, and he gave me a good price on that. Got the money. I was emailing Bride Comics, hey, I'm getting the money, please don't sell it to anybody else. And he's like, don't worry, I'll take it. And then eventually it got to the time. All right, buddy, I got the money. It was just like a Friday through like a Monday. It was only a few days, but I was super worried about he's gonna send it to somebody else. I know a lot of people watch his videos and he's just trying to move stuff. But Bryce Comics was really great to deal with, by the way. Really good guy. Made the process really easy. Made the process stress-free, and worry-free. Because if you're sending that amount of money to somebody, it can be a scary thing. So like, warning, don't ever send Zelle or Venmo to anybody you don't know or don't have the product already in hand, just because you're not getting that money back, especially Zelle. And that was another thing. Zelle was like, you had certain limits. You can only send on Zelle, so you can only send a certain amount of money, unless it's like there was a caveat to it, but I didn't know Brian. I've never sent money to him before. I was really nervous about sending it. I said, is it okay if I call you? Like, he gave me his phone number. Can I call you before I send the money? He ended up calling me. I recognized the voice. He talked to me. We talked for maybe like 3 minutes. And so that made me feel a lot more comfortable before I sent the money. I had to like send it between days because the limit. So I sent like some through Zelle and some through Venmo and just got it to him as quick as I possibly could. And then I got it in the mail. And this would kind of be like the second part of the video. So that was kind of the process of how I got it. Hopefully that helped you all think of ways that you could also get your Grail. But this is the second, I guess, half of the video of how I felt when I actually got my Grail. It was a lot different than I thought. When I first got it, I kind of let it sit in that USPS box for a little bit. I think at least a day. I also worked, but I kind of wanted to have some time to, not in between shifts. I work 12-hour days. I wanted some time to kind of appreciate it, so I waited for a day off. I opened it, and like I wasn't as excited or jumping for joy as I guess throughout the years I thought it would be. It was almost like a feeling of emptiness. Maybe I need to like chat GPT the feeling. I wasn't mad. I didn't have buyer's regret. Didn't feel bad about spending the money I spent on it. It was all money that I had spent on other stuff, and the hobby funded itself. I didn't take money out of my savings or my account or hide money from my wife. I didn't need to do any of that. It was just money that had already been building up. So there's no regret there. It was just I don't know how to explain it, really. It was just, maybe it's something, I guess I'm telling you this because it's something to consider if you're thinking about spending a considerable amount of money, wow, I can't speak right now, a considerable amount of money on your key comic. Don't FOMO for it. B, make sure you have the funds and you're spending them wisely, because when you get it, it might not be as exciting as you think it was. The only best way I can think of it, because it started making me thinking, and I don't want to get too religious on anyone, but I think the value of what I'm about to say, like, I think it applies to everything. So I go to church, big believer in Jesus, love Jesus, all that stuff. So get that out there. And I don't think this has necessarily to do, I think the moral of, I guess, of the story I'm about to tell you doesn't have much to do with actually like religious. It is religious, but I think there's a moral to it. So let's stay with me. So I've seen a video by Shia LaBeouf. Maybe I'll edit it in, maybe at the very end, but I'm just going to explain it. So he has a short video, you can find on Instagram stuff, where he talks about ultimate happiness. And Shia LaBeouf explained, as he was growing up, he always thought that happiness is something he could attain through taking. I'll be happy if I get this girl. I'll be happy if I get this job. I'll be happy if I get this money. And you're always taking, and then you're never feeling happy, which is what I thought I'd be when I got that comic. I thought I'd feel more happy. But the way he explained it was, when Jesus on the cross, giving everything he had, his life, that was his ultimate happiness. That's when he was most happy, when he was giving it all. And I think that has a lot of value, even if you're not religious or believe in Jesus like I do. It's something to consider. I guess a more simple version is when you are at Christmas, and if you are a father or a husband or a wife, and as you get older, you realize you don't get as much happiness from the things that you get on Christmas Day. You get that happiness comes from when you're giving to your kids and they're opening those Christmas presents, and your spouse, and you're giving to them, they're opening Christmas. That is way more exciting and way more happy, that feeling, than when you're getting the gifts. And that's just, I guess that's my best way to explain it. That's the only thing I can really rationalize in my brain. Like when I got this Grail right here, I'm not trying to show off or anything. I didn't have like the same, I wasn't excited. Maybe I don't get excited about much, but I was pretty happy when I got that. I remember when that was like so expensive, I not thought I got that either, but the show crashed, so the price of that crashed as well. So it was pretty reasonable price. I got that from Kentucky Keys too. I'm telling you. I also got like a Saga 9.8 from him too. Dude, he gives me all. I think every single Grail, not every single Grail, but a lot of my Grails I got from Kentucky Keys. So check him out. But back to the moral. It just wasn't the same experience I thought. Maybe it was, the journey. That could be another reason the journey was over. Earlier this year, Shortbox had an auction where they were selling TMNT. It was like number 2 through the end of it. I think it goes up to 100. It might go past 100. And they were selling them all at auction, which was, if you try to look for TMNT online, like eBay, those last few issues, those are the hardest to get in that first Mirage Volume 1. Besides, obviously, number 1. But I swear, you can find 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 at reasonable prices. But the last, 15 comics in that series, maybe because they were short printed, those are really, really hard to find at a good price. People have them on eBay, but they're asking ridiculous stuff. But Shortbox had a auction, and I was able to fill every single hole that series that I didn't have previously. So I have a complete volume 1 of TMNT Mirage now. Everything, at least first print on, which is really exciting. And as I was speaking about the journey when I started this long rant, journey was kind of over. So maybe that could be another reason why I'm kind of feeling this way about it. It's like when I got that comic, the TMNT number 1, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do now? I've been collecting for so many years. I got the Grail, I got the thing I need. What am I even collecting stuff for anymore? I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. That was kind of a long rant at the end. Hopefully I didn't lose you all some of the weird stock. But maybe it's just like a warning, something to consider before you buy your Grail and spend all that money. Then make sure that you're financially, stable enough to do it. Because if you're not, and you FOMO, you're not going to get the feeling that maybe you expect that you're going to get, is maybe where I'm going with that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't want to end a somber note. It's still really cool to have. It's still a cool bragging piece. I tell people all the time that I got it. It's right here. Nana nana boo boo. Anyways, thanks y'all. Peace.
I look at Christ on the cross, I think, is that a joyful man? As he bleeds out and dies on a cross for humanity, is that man joyful? The answer is yes, that even in his suffering, that's what Christ represents for me, meaningful suffering. Christ is in maximum joy in that moment. He is fully in his purpose. If you can tap into how you can use your suffering to help other people, that is maximum joy. I always thought joy was, oh, I get this and then I'm happy, or I do this and then I'm happy, or I get her and then I'm happy, or I make that and then I'm happy, or they respect me and then I'm happy. Or I always thought happiness was to be acquired by the things I would gain from life. That's why I was always grabbing. If I knew early on that happiness actually is in me offering all of my suffering up for other people as an instructive thing, or as something that could benefit man, then I maybe would have lived my life differently.